Hello everyone, dear friends, and I'm glad to welcome you to a new story. This is the first part of the Naruto story called Shadow of the Dragon. Guys, it's very important right now to show maximum activity so that YouTube understands that my channel has active subscribers. Please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and hit the bell so you don't miss new parts. This is really important to me.
Leaning back from the monitor, I tiredly rubbed my eyes and leaned against the back of the chair. If this isn't a Mary Sue moment on the enemy side, then I don't know what could be considered one. The last released chapter of the Naruto manga has been read, and all one can do is be amazed at each subsequent power increase of the enemies.
There's Pain, who lost purely due to his health condition. Then there's the one who has wood style, plus the Rinnegan on top of an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and the God mode. There's also Pseudo Madara with his Gato Mazo and a bunch of tail beasts. And one shouldn't forget about Kabuto, who reached Sage mode and with a mass resurrection on top of that. Against this backdrop, Naruto and his team look frankly pale, even with all the power of the recent tail beast chakra. Ordinary shinobi are generally lost somewhere at the very bottom, as long as they're not at least Jonin level.
Turning off the computer, I got up and headed to the kitchen. The clock showed 4 a.m., and a 2-day marathon of continuously reading the entire manga was over. Considering I had only taken short breaks for small snacks, it was high time to properly refuel. Come to think of it, there was still some leftover stew in the fridge, about 1.5 servings. That would do just fine.
Having put the pot on the stove, I lit the burner and waited 5 minutes, then armed with a spoon, began filling my stomach. Meanwhile, I was thinking, if you take the manga's plot as the true history, with the author's clumsy hands, short-sightedness, and embellishments of certain details, while others are glossed over or simply forgotten, then it turns out that most of what happened is the fault of the short-sightedness, overconfidence, and plain stupidity of half the key characters.
Almost like in real life. I'm not thinking about the small detail that Naruto was born after the Nine-Tails attack. His teachers could have trained him much better, especially the blonde kid. And then there's the older generation. Take the Uchiha, who were raising, or rather planning to raise, a rebellion. Not to mention the fact that this whole story stinks, and there are doubts that they started their scheming just like that, which means someone pushed them toward it. Because for more than half a century before that, the clan lived quite peacefully and without issues. So who among us has enough power to push aside the strongest clan in the village? Correct, the ruling elite of the Hokage and the Council of Elders. The same Danzo, who always had his own agenda, could very well have orchestrated the elimination simply to obtain the power of the most powerful red eyes capable of controlling people and tailed beasts, and simply eliminating all other holders.
Having scraped the last spoonful, I climbed out of the bowl and took the dishes to the sink. I'll wash them later. For now, it's time to sleep. Living alone is fairly tiring, but it has its advantages, especially when the kids have grown up and moved out and you've remained a bachelor for the rest of your life.
Lying down on the couch and covering myself with a blanket, I still couldn't get the plot of the story out of my head. Many consider manga to be entertainment for children, but the quantity and quality of the drawn stories can attract readers of all ages. It was actually thanks to my son's recommendation that I picked up the original, since the anime series I watched by force just to kill time at his place hadn't impressed me much.
Except that Kushina looks more beautiful in the manga. What a woman. And she ended up with an idiot who simply got her killed, even though he could have prevented such an outcome by literally calculating the probable actions of his opponents. Or rather, just send her to the hospital. Don't drag her into battle. As if she could have survived after having the tailed beast ripped out, its suppression, and then the ceiling. It just makes me angry.
Turning onto my other side, I sighed and got comfortable.
There's no point in getting upset when you can't do anything. It's a shame, though. Oh, if only one could be born about 2 years after the older trio. And suppose as a starting point, in the Nara clan. I didn't always like their characters, what with their lazy charisma and underdeveloped clan techniques. But what a field for imagination.
Say a mother from the clan leader's family and a sister of Shikaku, and a second parent who would be an Uzumaki. Considering the direction of the techniques used, the chakra system of the born child would be adapted for almost any direction of shinobi arts, starting from genjutsu and ending with taijutsu, having, let's recall, intellectual abilities from them and longevity and resilience from the others. In the end, we get very decent starting stats.
And one shouldn't forget about the Uzumaki clan's Kekkei Genkai. Many might object that it's heredity and doesn't fall under that category, but the presence of special chakra in Kisame and the bites leads to reflection. And let's not forget Karin Uzumaki, whose chakra is also special, along with the abilities of a powerful sensor. Nagato stands out entirely with his dojutsu, and he was also an Uzumaki. If that's not a Kekkei Genkai, then I don't know what to call one.
True, Naruto had nothing of the sort. But as a half-blood with dominant genes from his father, which is clearly determined by his appearance, he could have inherited only accelerated regeneration backed by the Kyuubi and an increased chakra volume. Plus, along with the already considerable reserves of all tailed beast hosts, it becomes understandable how he can pay for 1,000 clones. Unfortunately, nothing is known about the children of female Jinchuriki due to the absence of said children, except for the most obvious, which can't really tell you what was inherited and what came from the sealed demon.
It seems like one of Tsunade's parents should have been one, but the manga says nothing about them. I sighed. Even adults can dream. To end up in a world where almost everything is possible, including resurrection of the dead and a man creating a moon, is worth the remainder of my life and the constant danger of the new one. Undoubtedly, it's far better than being a sick old man remembering the best years of life and a pile of missed opportunities.
And what women I had come across? What an idiot I was, always looking for the one. I sighed again, pushed aside unnecessary thoughts, and began sinking into the abyss of sleep. And only somewhere far away, barely audible as a whisper, came the words, "Well then, try it." Not quite stirring the drowsy mind of a man on the verge of getting what he desired.
The sharp bang of a door flying open, together with the loud sounds of an infant's crying bursting into the hallway, made the broad-shouldered man nervously sitting on the bench jump up. He was dressed in the standard shinobi attire of the village of whirlpools. His luxurious mane of deep red, almost burgundy hair, pulled tightly into a ponytail at the back of his head, left no doubt as to the man's belonging to the well-known Uzumaki clan.
Congratulations! Your firstborn has arrived strong and healthy. The middle-aged woman who appeared on the threshold, wearing the standard medical coat and cap, belonged to the Nara clan, though it was doubtful anyone else would deliver the babies of a clan leader's relative. Can I? The happy father decisively stood up and approached.
The advantage of having a large amount of body energy? Or, if we recall the fancy terminology, it clearly seems that taijutsu, if memory serves, relates to the degree of physical development which the residents of the village of whirlpools always had in abundance. Ren, spiritual development, training of the mind, and gaining experience, which the Nara clan members have plenty of. Perhaps that is precisely why, despite my fairly modest knowledge of Japanese, I managed within half a year to understand conversational speech quite well. Or maybe it was because Mom really loved to chat with other mothers during my outings.
Whether you like it or not, he'll pick something up. As for the reason for my arrival in the world of the elemental nations, I tried not to think about it. After all, the chance to start life anew, crystal clear fresh air, clean water, natural food, and the ability to gain powers I never even dreamed of, plus an approximate knowledge of key events that will happen in the future and the ability to influence them. And most importantly, here my parents are alive. What more could one need? And my old life and empty 2-room apartment awaited me after my wife's death, and literally poison and everything consumed, and 5-10 years until death. Not a very pleasant prospect, and certainly not worth any particular regret. The second year, and significant events outside my limited little world were still not observed. Meanwhile, the list of personal achievements had grown to include the ability to walk and then run, to speak simple words quite coherently, and to try to learn to read and write. The latter was taken up by Dad, who with pleasure demonstrated magical tricks with seals. And as a method of motivation for someone who had never seen anything beyond the ordinary, it truly was a miracle. So the wide eyes and open mouth in amazement didn't even need to be faked. And in general, my psyche underwent a number of changes toward a simpler expression of emotions, as is natural for children, but without any impairment in thinking or deterioration of concentration, thanks to the entire strength of the yang component of chakra. The only thing that overshadowed all achievements was the presence of my chief cousin, who by age 4 was already easily writing hieroglyphs and playing shogi better than many adults outside the Nara clan, much to my envy. He could have been training to awaken his chakra, but the habit of sleeping 30 hours a day seriously interfered with that. The third year, and Shikaku could no longer stay with us and return to his village. As Mom said, my grandfather used all his connections to keep him with us, but even such a long time, from 2 to 2.5 years, is already much longer than 12 months. Despite such a sad event, I had reason for pride. Along with a proper expansion of my vocabulary, I mastered writing to a sufficient level to begin drawing seals. I drew my first seal under Dad's supervision right before his departure. Shikaku could rest. I was the genius here. True, I only awakened my chakra at the very end of the year, under Mom's strict supervision, so I never managed to personally fill that seal. And besides the training seal that emits light, I couldn't draw anything else. Dad had laid down clear instructions to begin practicing fuinjutsu only from age 4 and only after achieving good control over chakra. By that time, my volume was supposed to reach the level of an average academy student. That's precisely why I had to engage in meditation in an attempt to sense the chakra inside myself. As Mom explained, the Uzumaki are forced to begin training at this age precisely because of their excessively large chakra volumes, even in childhood. If you don't start 2 years earlier than everyone else, there will be major problems with control. Besides, if you deplete the reserve almost completely, the volume will increase much faster than by natural means. Well, who would object? I was always glad to have something to do, if only because the list of entertainment was extremely limited. For example, I love chasing our obedient dogs, which are used for herding deer in the Nara clan's forest. It really develops the muscles and overall speed of the body, a kind of groundwork for future training. I also practice speed of writing, also very useful for a future master of seals. I play shogi with Mom, and that's about it. Otherwise, there's nothing to do except sleep or stare at clouds like my cousin does. Even the television here isn't used as an entertainment device, but as a surveillance device through cameras, or for recording important events, and very expensive at that. There's no TV or radio at all. Communication is used exclusively for military purposes. I found this out during a visit to the clan library. I didn't find anything particularly interesting, but managed to borrow a couple of books. One of them turned out to be historical, describing the wanderings of one of the Nara during the clan wars before the creation of the first villages. Very interesting. It felt like reading an uncensored action novel. Now it's clear how ancient Shinobi entertained themselves.
First, a good fight, then interrogation of surviving men to extract known techniques, and using enemy kunoichi for the same purposes. The latter broke faster. I quickly returned the history book before anyone caught me. I had a feeling that if I'd been caught with it, I'd definitely have gotten a spanking. But I remembered exactly where I put it. I'll need to slip it to Shikaku in about a year. Maybe after reading it, he'll stop being so smug about his training. That same year, I was introduced to Yamanaka Ino, Choji Akamichi, and their fathers. Well, introduced is a stretch. I saw them from Grandpa Shara's lap. He had retired with honor and passed the reins of the clan to his son. The old man adored me and constantly told stories about his turbulent youth, literally instilling the desire to become a shinobi. Considering that most of his adventures had happened even before the founding of Konoha, it turned out to be terribly interesting. Since nothing of the sort was even mentioned in the manga, who would have thought that the Kiji clan was originally a shepherding clan? The funniest thing, as long as Mom wasn't nearby, he'd demonstrate hand seals, making me promise not to tell anyone. Anyway, I got distracted. The blondie and the chubby kid were brought by their parents to meet Shikaku, and judging by everything, even before the famous event, our clans were friends. But it was funny to think that I was witnessing the birth of the heroes of a future war. While the Akamichi and Nara kids in childhood looked almost like exact copies of their future sons, Ino looked more like a girl with his long hair, especially since he hadn't yet tied it into a ponytail. By the way, I'd already begun taking care of my own grown-out wild red mane, and sometimes even braided it into a tight braid with Mom's help so it wouldn't stick out in all directions. It came out almost as thick as my arm, clearly taking after someone. Most importantly, though, along with the improvement of my chakra control, the gift of a sensor awakened in me. At least, that's how Mom explained it when I asked why I could feel the presence of chakra of varying intensity in people nearby. Over the time that had passed, memories of my past life began to fade and dim, like the contents of a read book. They still evoke some emotions, but only as from a read story, nothing more. And who's waiting for me there anyway? My wife is dead. The children have long been independent and visit only occasionally. Sure, being in one's 60s is far from the end of life, but the best years have passed. No regrets. And when you start to realize the possibilities opening up ahead, all doubts stop haunting you. It's much more interesting here.